Alessia Russo doing what she does sometimes. It's scoring the impossible goal.
I mean, it's the tightest call that I think to the naked eye none of us can still see, even with the line.
Those subs for me potentially changed the game, and it needed to happen earlier.
Tell me if I'm mental, it's fine. I've been called a lot worse. I think the Lionesses beat the Netherlands. I think they smash Wales and they go through on goal difference.
Just commenting on France, they do underperform in tournaments. So when you say, yes, they have an off day, it is known in tournaments that they don't actually perform to the quality. I agree, I think they're going to get through just fine on goal difference.
Schmilly. Oh, Millie Vanilli. It's going to be a hit already.
Every moment side by side, with you I feel alive.
All right.
Oh, I really like it.
The Medema household derby. Do you talk to each other?
Will they kick each other? That is the question.
And then who goes through? Hello, how are you? And welcome back to The Kickback, sponsored by LG and its All In Pledge campaign. Show your commitment to the Lionesses and the Red Roses this summer by heading to lg.com/UK/pledge. Sign up to the Pledge campaign and opt in for a chance to win an LG TV and soundbar. Remember, watching changes everything. My name's Shebahn Aherne, joined today by the WSL's record appearance holder and Lioness, Jordan Nobbs. Coming up for you in the show, we're going to look back on the opening week of Euro 2025 and that devastating loss for England against France. Plus, Jordan's former teammate Maz Pacheco joins us live from Switzerland to give us her take on the action so far. And with the help of LG's AI music tool, myself and Millie Bright created a country song for the Lionesses. So stay tuned for that and much, much more on the way on The Kickback. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get in the comments and always be kind. What a day to have you. Like, you are a Lioness England legend. You've had most appearances in the WSL. Before we deep dive, Jordan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Really good.
You've had a bit of a break, bit of a summer to recover, almost?
I think the time off's been nice. So, yeah, a few holidays and time at home's been good.
Good stuff. We're man-marking you for what's ahead in the future as well. Speaking of which, your good old pal, Maz Pacheco from Villa, is with us from Switzerland today as well. Hello, Maz Pacheco. It's good to have you with us today.
Hello, guys. How are we?
Yeah,
Hi,
good.
Maz.
Thanks. Good. How's life in Switzerland?
Loving it so far. It's just football mad. Can't complain, can I?
Did you get to, so you got to, obviously, Switzerland's opening game, and then you got to the Lioness game against France, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Good. Okay, let's go straight into it, shall we? We just have to start on England. Jordan, firstly, what's your initial take in a 2-1, defeat against France?
Yeah, it was a tough night for them. I think they started well, but I think to then not win first, second balls, I think that was the most disappointing. But I do think France are a really, really tough team to face in your first game.
Maz, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it was a big game to start the tournament off, as Jordan was saying. But yeah, I think I was saying it before, but if that VAR decision went to us, I feel like the momentum of the game would have shifted.
Well, yeah, I mean, they started lively, didn't they, England? And Alessia Russo doing what she does sometimes. It's scoring the impossible goal, doesn't she? She seems to do that a lot. And in the end, you think that's it, they're 1-0 up. They're pumped, they're looking energised, they're ready. Offside, and no matter how many times I look at that picture, I still can't see where it's offside. Jordan, I mean, you'd be fuming. You'd be fuming if this happened to you.
It's literally, I mean, is it a toe? Is it a knee? It's honestly the tightest VAR I've probably ever seen. And I think as footballers, we keep going over, is it clear and obvious on some decisions, or is it not? And I mean, it's the tightest call that I think to the naked eye, none of us can still see, even with the line.
Yeah, I mean, even when it's drawn on, I'm like, but can you tell me the bit? That it was Beth Mead's shoulder, but even when you look at the lines, I'm like, but that's not clear.
No.
So then the kind of wind's kind of taken out their sail, and then France just start to kind of attack and punish England, and they were on it for a solid 30 minutes from there, weren't they?
It actually really helped France out, because I think France's back line looked a little bit where there were Lauren James was getting in behind and starting to spray balls, and as soon as that goal went in, I think it actually changed the French mentality, and they just turned into a totally different team. You know, the physicality, the 2v1s down the wing. So, yeah, it actually came probably as a positive for France. I think it gave them a kick to change what they were doing.
And they did, then they capitalised, didn't they, in that moment. Maz, see when you were in the stadium, what was the feeling like with A, that offside, and then B, afterwards? Did it feel like the energy from the England team had just dropped?
Yeah, I think at the start of the game, the atmosphere was electric. You could feel like it was a really big game. It was the first game for us. And as soon as the goal went in, the stadium went off. But as soon as the VAR decision was made, you could feel everyone just go boom. Like the stadium went a bit quiet. It went a bit silent because, like you said, France just switched. They went on it. They needed that kick, and they just kicked on. And it was good to see the battles, like Jordan saying, the 2v1s down the side. It was a good matchup between, Lucy Bronze and Sandy down that right-hand side. And yeah, it was like almost that they had that flood of energy to punish England for almost getting through and being like, no, we're not having that. And if you can't deny the quality that France have. It was a really good matchup and they just capitalised on it.
Jordan, you mentioned that actually earlier on. It's not a case of it's random that France beat England. They're a very, very good side. They are more than capable of beating England. It's just that maybe England had an off night.
Yeah, it's two top teams going against each other, and I think obviously the Lionesses, they've made it clear that they were disappointed with probably their performance, but it's not unheard of to lose against France. I think the last few scorelines have always been like a 2-1, a very close game, and one of them taking it over the edge. So yeah, it's not an easy first game, but I think they'll take a lot of analysis out of that game to not do it against the Netherlands.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I want to know your outright thoughts. Maz, we'll start with you, with Sarina Wiegman and the subs that were made. Do you feel that they should happen a little bit sooner?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the girls didn't have much chance to really impact the game. It's hard coming on as a sub. I know me and Jordan know it. To come on in that type of game is so hard to make an impact, but to only get maybe 30 minutes or 20 minutes, it's a lot to ask. And I just feel like those subs, for me, potentially changed the game, and it needed to happen earlier.
Jordan?
Yeah, it's one of them, because it's first game of the tournament, making a decision at half-time, because you could have sub-plays at half-time and thought, right, this isn't going well. But then, that's a big call to make. And I think with knowing Sarina, she normally knows when she's going to make her subs and probably who's going to come on. But I think, like Maz said, in that second half, I think you've got to make the call a little bit earlier and change your tactics or personnel, because sometimes we have a bad day at the office and it's just not the game for you, and it's not necessarily means you're not going to play again in the tournament, but the game just wasn't going their way.
Who was it you would have subbed at half-time?
I think Jess Carter had a tough night, but in fairness, Cascarino, she's, you heard Emma Hayes talking about her since she's been one of the best players in the NWSL. So I think it wasn't a personal thing on her. It was maybe, can someone else actually support her? You can see that they're capitalising on a 2v1. You've got to start getting players over. So if Jess does get beat, they've got another body to help her out with. But yeah, that wouldn't have been I think Jess is a great defender, but it was just that Cascarino was having a good game.
You absolutely tell me otherwise, because usually I sit here and run my mouth and I don't have anyone to turn to and go, no, you're completely wrong about this. So did Stanley have a bad game? Because I think she did.
Yeah.
Did she have a tough night?
I think she did, yeah.
And Lucy Bronze, did she have a tough night at times?
At times, yeah.
Okay, so I feel that Grace Clinton coming on changed things, and Michelle Agerman coming on, I was like, hold on a minute. Now, not only did she bring a change to the tempo of the game, and we started to see the Lionesses doing what they're capable of, but I think she brought character, Jordan. Like somebody who came in with like this steely attitude. I'm here to win. We're not here to be nice or anything like that. And I'm thinking about Sarina Wiegman. I'm thinking about Hannah Hampton and Mary Earps. And I'm like, Mary Earps, I know that's what the ship has sailed, right? So you need to move on. But Mary had that character. Millie has that character. And I know it's sad that they're not there and they're not part of it, but I think the Lionesses need character if they're going to go and get really convincing wins moving forward.
Yeah, I think whenever you lose experience, there's holes in the team, and it's how quickly can you have players adapt and take on certain roles. You know, you can't just rely on two players to get the team going. I think Mary and Millie are great examples of their attitude, their professionalism. You know, no one goes out there to be not a leader, but they're just leaders that come with their role. I think that's why Lucy Bronze, you're still going to have her on the pitch because she speaks a lot to players. Right. She has that mentality of let's go again, like this is the standard. So I think that's key when they've lost a few players like that. And yeah, I think you could see one or two changes maybe to do that. But again, the girls have a lot of experience. I think 10 of them players had played in the Euros final. You know, it's not like we're talking about players, Alex Greenwood, 100 caps. Yeah. So you have got people that can take on that role.
Yeah, what was it for you, Maz, that you think was ever so slightly missing that led to that kind of poor night at the office for England?
I think, yeah, you speak about experience, maybe it could have been that, but also it's the first game. It could have been nerves against France. It's another big game that could have played a factor. But for me, like you speak about Michelle, when she came on in the stadium, you speak about personality, character. It was almost as if when she came on, the stadium just lifted and that belief came from the fans, and that belief then showed in the players in that last 30 minutes. It was almost as if, why couldn't we have fought like that from the start? Mm-hmm. And we kind of lost ourselves a bit in the game, and then it came back to life in the last 30. But again, it was just a little too late. But yeah, I agree in terms of Jordan. Yeah, those experienced players we could have been missing, but the likes of Alex, Lucy, you've got other big characters in there. So it could have just been a bad day at the office. And it's almost as if, okay, we've lost the first game. Can we then use that momentum, flip it to go and win the next few games in the group games? Because we can still get through. It's not to say, you know, we can't get through. If you lose one game, it's fine. It's tournament football. It happens. But we've just got to make sure we use that now to go into the next few games.
Maz, you wouldn't have seen, because you're out there, the close-up shots of Michelle Ejimang when she came on. Like, what did you... Because when I was watching the screen, I was like, oh, my God, she means business. For a young and experienced player, this is their first major tournament, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that what you need, or is it like, whoa, you know?
No, I think you need a bit of confidence, don't you? I think you've got nothing to lose. You want to show your attitude of, get me on that pitch. Mm-hmm. You know, she'd obviously come on for a debut, scored, which gives her a massive boost. And yeah, like Maz said, sometimes it takes a little spark to get everyone going again. And it's crazy that it came from such a youngster.
And I think that's it. Now I'm thinking, right, next game against Netherlands, right? Tell me if I'm mental, it's fine. I've been called a lot worse. I think the Lionesses beat the Netherlands, right? I think they put in a really... Again, all of this, maybe it's the best thing that could have happened. A defeat, but it ended strong, right? Last 10 minutes kind of ended strong. They beat the Netherlands, and then with no disrespect to Wales, because I just love the story, I love that they're there, I think absolute credit to them. I think they smash Wales and they go through on goal difference. I think France might suffer defeat to the Netherlands, because we all know that France can have an off night. Russia was part of the team last July for Ireland that beat France 3-1. That was like their most successful win ever for Ireland. So if you can get them on an off night, and maybe they've peaked now, no offence, France, like I love you and all that, I think it's great and they're a quality team, but this group is just a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I was actually going to say you were crazy then. And then I actually literally said upstairs that what are the chances that it comes down to England having to win 6-0? Yeah, and that's what they do. Yeah. I think a while back they actually did that, where it was a goal difference and they came back. I can't remember who that was against. But yeah, we've called it the group of death, haven't we? And I think the Lionesses are more than capable of getting out of it. It's, yeah, which way is it going to go?
It's that tight. I mean, Maz, remember in the WSL, before Emma Hayes left, they thought they'd thrown away the title, and then they come back, Chelsea, and won that game against Leicester 8-0 or something to make up the goal difference to win. So we know, with the amount of talent in this England squad, that I actually think it's kind of the boot up the arse they needed. And I reckon they still go on and win it. I know that's wild, but I think they're still capable of winning the whole tournament.
I agree, but also just commenting on France, I think if we look back at the Euros, maybe the World Cup too, they do underperform in tournaments. Yeah. So when you say, yes, they have an off day, it is known in tournaments that they don't actually perform to the quality. Who's to say they don't do it this tournament? But again, like you said, anything can happen. It's tournament football. Sometimes nerves can get the better of them. You can get this first win, and then all of a sudden the pressure's on them to win against Netherlands, where, you know, England, they're going to find their feet. And I agree. I think they're going to get through just fine on goal difference.
Oh, tell me, Jordan, like, how do you see the next fixtures going? So, England against Netherlands, what's your result?
Yeah, I think like a 2-1. I think it'll still be tight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wales, England, you're thinking maybe 6-0?
Yeah, I think it'll be like where the Lionesses go
take
up.
off.
Yeah, take off.
And then, Maz, it's very possible that France and Netherlands could manage a draw.
It is very possible. I think you look at the quality of players in both squads, I think it'll be a very tight game. This is probably the most exciting group, I would say, out of all the groups in the Euros. So, yeah, I'm thinking it could be a draw, or we could have Netherlands nick it. But, yeah, in terms of the England v Netherlands game, I'm saying 2-0 to Lionesses.
Okay, that would keep things very interesting. I want to talk about the Netherlands in just a second. Before we do that, Maz, what changes would you make to Sarina Wiegman's starting 11 against the Netherlands?
I'm not too sure. I feel like with how Sarina goes, she might keep the starting 11 the same, but then maybe make those changes slightly earlier. You know, when they done the Euros back in England, it was very much she knew her impact players, with, you know, Tooney coming on, Russo coming on. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Sarina will do, but I feel like she'll keep the starting 11. But with me, I don't know, I might be biased, but why don't you give Michelle a start, maybe on the wings, or throw them players who try to make an impact, just throw them in the starting 11, see what happens.
Would you change the formation, Jordan? Maybe go 3 at the back, 3-5-2?
She's played 3-5-2 before, but I think in a must-win game, after you know, not the best performance, I don't think you're changing that in the space of a few days. I mean, you could. She knows the Netherlands more than anyone. What's going to beat them? But no, I would stick with what they know and just hope that was just a bad day at the office. I think none of them Lionesses want to perform the same way as what they did the other day. Yeah,
and surely it will not be the case. Makes this game a real one to watch as well. Can I just mention, for like the sake of the Real Housewives of the WSL, the Medema derby? Beth Mead against Viviana Medema. I mean, we need to commission the TV show. The Real Housewives of the WSL.
Yeah,
it's a cracker.
Get it going.
But I mean, how amazing. And Viv's goal, the 100th goal for the Netherlands. I mean, you've played alongside her, Jordan. I mean, what was that moment like for you, watching her get that moment as well?
Yeah, I stood up clapping because I just thought it's just typical trademark Viv. The amount of times in training you think she's going to shoot on her right, then you think she's going to shoot on her left, and then she hits it top bins. I mean, she did it to me and Maz at Aston Villa when I think she turned me actually, and I knew what she was going to do, and still I just watched this goal go in. She's unbelievable. She's a top player, and you know, she's not had an easy ride. It's not easy to be injured and then back, and to still do that is insane.
Yeah, and that picture she's put up of when she's a wee girl and she's wearing the T-shirt with the 100 on it, and then wearing the 100 Netherlands T-shirt, surrounded by all of her teammates after scoring that goal. And one of those Viv classics as well. I mean, how many times have we seen her chop, and just whip it in? Absolutely stunning. But Maz, one thing she spoke about in the post-match interview as well was, as Jordan mentioned, coming through those injuries, you start to see the game in a different light. You start to see it from a different perspective. And now she's having that. It's like the enjoyment's back for her.
No, I think sometimes it could be a blessing in disguise. As much as we don't want to be injured as players, sometimes it comes at the right time to have that step back and have that reflection and see the game in a different way and see the areas that you want to improve on and the impact that you want to have as a player. Although Viv's like a top player, I can imagine, you know, Jordan, you've worked with her before, but I can imagine her always wanting to be better and always wanting to improve. So maybe those injuries, have come at the right time for her, and now she's making that impact that she wants to do at the Euros and doing the things that she's good at.
It was this tournament as well that made Viviana Medema the household name. You know, that winning with the Netherlands, with Sarina Wiegman before the Lionesses. what she's achieved is quite unbelievable. Do you think the Netherlands could win it?
They've done it before. They could be more of the dark horse. I think that when you look at their squad, you are reeling off names that you're like, yeah, really good, really good.
Yeah.
I think especially their forward line, I guess what we've not seen yet is they've not played a tough team. You know, they've played a team that you'd expect them to win. So I guess it'll probably come down to see how they perform against France, and then there's no reason why they can't be title contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to touch on the Welsh as well. We said it in the show last week about them getting the credit they deserve for being here. But do you remember your first tournament? I was watching Jess Fishlock singing that anthem. You know, she's football in Wales, isn't she? And she's held on and been the utmost professional for such a long time. To stand and sing her anthem for the first time at a major tournament with 8,000 fans was a magic moment for football.
Yeah, I think whenever we hear people talking about Wales, it's about that red wall and, you know, the passion that they show as a country. And to make it to a tournament is incredible. You know, you never want to lose your first game, but, you know, hopefully they'll all be so proud of getting into a major tournament. It's not easy, and it's memories that'll last a lifetime for them. I think people talk about Jess Fishlock, Sophie Ingle, you know, them finally making it and having them proud moments.
Yeah, it was special, and you know me, I'm still bitter and salty, and you know, raging that they knocked Ireland out in that playoff game. But when I watched the build-up on Sky Sports News and all the fans were walking up to the stadium, they'd walked about like 3K in 38-degree heat, all singing the songs, young boys, young girls, women, men, you know, it had it all. It was such an amazing atmosphere and feeling. And I thought, do you know what? Like, park your bias for Roosh and Ireland, park it, because that country needed this moment and they will go on and change it for the better.
Yeah, and that's what we keep talking about, changing the women's game. And, you know, you've seen it progress over the years with the Lionesses. It takes them special moments to change their country as well, and their grassroots football. You know, it's all a snowball effect where they see their role models playing on a big stage.
Maz, talk to us about your plans then for the next few days. What games are you taking in?
So the next one is Spain versus Belgium, which is going to be hopefully a good game. And then after that, it's the Lionesses, obviously, versus Netherlands. So those are the next two big games, I would say, coming up. And it just seeing the build-up as, you know, a neutral coming in, just seeing all the fans, you know, the different shirts, little girls walking around with players on the backs. It's an amazing atmosphere, and just seeing the effects of Euros and empowering women and empowering footballers is an amazing feeling. But yeah, definitely the Spain game and the England game, looking forward to it.
Oh, brilliant. I'm so jealous that you're there and doing a bit of a Maz Pacheco tour. Also, news coming out of Switzerland last week that it's £9 for a drink and £100 to get your nails done. What is that?
Yeah, no, I don't know the prices out here, but yeah, it's ridiculous. I feel like people over here are on a lot of money, it seems like. But I guess that's what happens when you come to another country. Obviously, for the Euros, you go into their culture, and it's nice to dip into their traditions and seeing how they do things out here. But obviously, we're wanting our teams to go in and win it.
I need to go out there and find myself a nice Swiss sugar daddy.
I would say that's the plan.
Yeah, nice big Swiss bit on the side.
Yeah, just fly Roosh out here. She might be able to wing woman. Yeah.
She'll cramp my style, man. Everyone will be running for the hills. But Swiss man and chocolate, I mean, I belong there. That's what will happen. While I've got you both, can I just ask you, I know this is a bit like political, and PSR of Aston Villa, they've sold the women's team. You both are no longer with Aston Villa. Jordan, do you think this is a good move for the women, or do you feel that this is the men going, we don't care?
I don't know too much of the logistics, but I guess whatever they do, I think it happened to Chelsea, hadn't it?
Yeah.
I think we'll see over the next year if they show that they've done that to still support and push the women. You'd like to hope so. I think Aston Villa are a big club that, you know, have great talent there. So hopefully that's a direction. If not, I think we'll soon see that it's gone the other way.
Okay, Maz, what do you think about it? Any opinion?
No, I agree. If they do it the right way and do it how, Chelsea done it, it's to showcase that they want to improve the women and build and push and throw in the investment. But if they don't have that in mind, it will show on the pitch and it will show through the players and through the staff. So it'll be interesting to say the least how it turns out. Obviously, as a footballer, no matter what club it is, you want clubs to invest. You don't want it to be a negative. So I'm hoping, obviously, for the women's game, it goes the right way.
Maz, you're a legend. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just before you go, what's your next club?
Hopefully in the WSL.
Oh, I love that from you. Scouse accent and all that.
Maybe.
Maz, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time. It's been lovely having you, and we'll catch up with Maz's tours a little bit later on. Also, this summer, you can now use LG's AI music tool to create a song of your own in support of the Lionesses. It's good fun. All you have to do is head to lg.com/UK/radio optimism to make yours now and send your tune to the players on social media. They'll love it. Myself and LG ambassador Millie Bright put our little musical talents to the test to see what we could create for the girls. But first, we needed a band name. Schmilly?
Schmilly.
Oh, Schmilly Vanilli. It's going to be a hit already.
What's your song for?
Do you want to do it for England's women or the women's Euros? Like, what's your...
England lifting the trophy.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got to stick to my roots.
England win. Right, boom. Is it taking it? Why do they deserve a shout out? Why not?
Yeah.
Because they are the reigning champs.
This better be a banger.
Here we go. It's composing.
Come on.
Oh, okay. We're ready to go. A heartfelt tribute to England win, celebrating their strength and unity as reigning champions with romantic devotion. What's it called? Champions.
No romance at the Euros.
Champions of My Heart by Schmelly and Coming.
Well, that's a nice little beat.
Hello. Giddy up.
Should have brought my hat and my cowboy boots.
Yes.
It's a bit of a long intro for me, this.
Come on then.
I'd have skipped it by now.
England win, you like the sky and flags are waving. Hearts held high, every moment side by side. With you I feel alive.
All right.
Oh, I really like it.
Champions of my heart.
Reigning strong, reaching for the stars.
I love it.
Go again, nothing's too far. England win, you're my
It's
shining
perfect.
star.
Well done. We've just written a hit. Cheers, AI.
I'm not joking, that could actually be like top three.
That's so
Hey,
cute.
you better get a payout though for when some artist picks that up.
Yeah. That song makes me want to support England, Millie. Well done. Don't forget, you can head to lg.com/UK/radio optimism to create your own song in support of the Lionesses this summer. Send it to them on social media as well. Trust me, they absolutely love it. So Jordan, Euros fever. Are you going to get your chance to go out there at any point? Would you like to go and catch up in any of the games?
I think if the Lionesses make it to the final, hopefully, then yeah, I would go out. But no, I think I'll be training here and watching from the TV.
What's it like, having been there, done that, watching it?
I don't know. You just get used to it. I think there's a certain journey you go on with football. I've done the tournaments where I've played, I've done the tournaments where I haven't, I've done the tournament where I've been injured on the tournament. So, I guess you just get used to watching, but would you love to be part of the Lionesses now? Yeah, of course. I mean, the game's just growing and getting bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now I'm glad we've got you, even though I want you part of all that, I'm glad we've got you. So England against the Netherlands and France against the Wales coming up. The Wales against the Welsh up this Wednesday. Talk to me about the preparations in camp then, after the back of a defeat. How will they regroup? How long do you get to stew on a defeat like that?
Yeah, you'll obviously have the girls will go out to training that didn't play, so they'll have their time on the pitch to get going again, which I think is key to your mentality and your focus again. And then the rest of the girls, you you have your rest and recovery. That's the main thing. Get everyone as fit as possible to be on the pitch again. And you'll analyse a bit of the game, but then because it's such a quick turnaround, it's more about the focus on the next game. You know, you can't dwell on the game before too much.
Is there something where you practice like mentality when you have to go in and win this next game and it's against an opposition like the Netherlands, like you mentioned earlier on, with your manager knows this side better than anyone, you know, where you go, we can practice and we can get in our heads and know we're going to win it?
I think that's all individual. I think different managers in the past, they've been very big on the psychology side of things. I think Serena allows you to be your own person and, you know, I think the mentality from everyone, which is why they're there, is the winner mentality. So, you know, that's not going to change, I don't think. And everyone will have their own individual ways of dealing with that.
Well, talk to us about the pressure they'll be under now, because you know what it's like with the press and the outside noise. Will they be feeling the pressure now?
I mean, naturally you will be, because they've got to win their next game. But I think they still have been there and done that in tournaments where they know that group can get to the next stage. So I think they'll still believe that as a team. And it's just about them now putting on a performance. That's the main thing, isn't it? A lot of them girls have been in pressure moments before. They've dealt with that type of mentality. And I think we've heard from like Alessia Russo not going on social media and things like that. So I think a lot of them will have cut-off points with seeing the outside world and staying in their bubble.
Yeah, and not reading too much into it. I mean, I know you can't focus on, you know, VR being for you or against you on a certain game. Was it just an off night, or was there something else you think was lacking in that game?
I think it was an off night because it's, you know, you don't normally see the team like that. You know, they just weren't putting passes together. They weren't winning first and second balls. I think also France were on fire. I think they've made themselves look like contenders. So yeah, I would say it's an off night. I think that's why there probably won't be too many changes because, you know, they'll believe in that team that can perform.
Like you say, you know, Serena Wiegman, like, what do you think she's going to stick with this team?
Could be one or two, but I think it'll be pretty similar. And I think Aherne coming on, that could change Serena's mind if she needs a goal. You know, you're putting her on earlier now because you've seen what she can do when she comes on in that limited amount of minutes. What
could be your one or two? Like you said, there could be one or two changes. Like, what would be the one change you would make?
It's whether you throw in a Ella Toone or a Grace Clinton and then you maybe have a Lauren James on the wing. I think it's something wasn't quite clicking in that middle. You know, you'd obviously mentioned Georgia Stanway. She has just been coming back from injury. So again, that could have just been an off day. You know, and it kind of gives everyone a wake-up call for the next game and you see a totally different side to them. You see the Lionesses that we saw in the last 20 minutes. So yeah, that would be whether you've got to make some big calls now because you need to win that next game. You don't have time to kind of wait around.
And this is the thing coming into the tournament as well, Jordan. Like, the Netherlands, for me, are outstanding, right? And I love watching them at major tournaments, but they have been off it. They've been off the boil for quite some time. Can you look at the result against Wales and take that as, like, a fair point? You know, I don't mean that as any disrespect to Wales, but they've never been at a major tournament, whereas Netherlands are beasts in the major stage. So have they tested themselves against the best yet?
No, but then you look at Viv Medema being out, Vic Palova being out. I think their starting 11 is really strong. Obviously, they've got some players that can come off the bench, but I think now they have got their strength in their starting 11 that have had game time, that have been performing. So, yeah, I think their test will be against France, obviously. Yeah. You can't judge too much against Wales. They would be disappointed if they drop points against them. Also, what I love about the Netherlands as well is the orange wall. It's just the most fun going up to the stadium. Yeah. It's so much fun. Like, they know how to have a good time, as do the English when they come to major tournaments as well. The Medema household derby. How do you like? Do you talk to each other? Like, do they have any sort of? You know, be like, right, doll,
Have a good game.
Yeah.
Have a good game. Hope you lose.
Will they kick each other? That is the question. That's the main one, isn't it?
Man, you see Beth Mead slide in on a bird.
Yeah, the household will be broken. No, I think they'll both want to win. They'll both be super competitive and look after each other after the game, because it's a big game, isn't it?
And for us at the Lioness camp in Switzerland, our reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk caught up with Chloe Kelly facing her Arsenal teammate.
Speaking of oppositions, you then go and play the Netherlands, and a lot of players that you know personally, both from Arsenal and City. But one I want to focus on is Van Domselaar. I'm just thinking, I know, when we used to be at Everton, you used to stay out, do shoot in penalties, and it's always up against the goalkeepers. So is that something that plays on your mind at all, or is it just that is what it is? And or do you feel you can get the better of her, or is it the fact that, well, she probably knows you inside out as well as her?
Yeah, of course, you spend a lot of time on the training pitch together. And since January, spend a lot of time coming up against an amazing keeper in Daph. She's incredibly gifted and, of course, so talented. And we have that as well within our squad. So we're challenging ourselves every day on our training pitch as well as when we was at clubs. So hoping we can be at our best in every single game. But we know the challenges that we face and the oppositions we, of course, know a lot about, but they know a lot about us as well.
Jordan, Chloe Kelly, now an official Arsenal player. Was that like the worst kept secret ever? Did you know this was happening?
I think we all knew that was probably going to happen. She's had the faith from the manager. It seems like a no-brainer for Chloe Kelly to not stay at Arsenal, and she's done really well and performed for them.
Do you see her maybe making a couple of starts if things are to go better for England?
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because Chloe's probably started more than Beth at club, but then, Beth's favoured with the national team, which they're both the top talented players with great delivery on the ball. It's one of them, isn't it? You're not going to lose out on either one when they start, but I'm sure Chloe Kelly will be wanting to be on that pitch.
Absolutely. She's got so much confidence in herself as well. That's something you see kind of oozing out of her, and it's something that you see so much from Beth Mead, especially in those 1v1s. You think, this is it, she's going to come alive. And that's so much of what we saw from Beth Mead in the last tournament here in England. Yeah,
I mean, just unbelievable. I think what she did just changed her as a player, didn't it? The goals. She was a bit like Viv, really, chopping on the ball, left foot, right foot, scoring, and it was just oozing with confidence, really. And hopefully, I think in that last game, there was a few times where I'd have thought Beth would have had a shot, and she just didn't, she looked to pass it. So hopefully, she can just get a few more shots off, because, Beth scores goals.
Brilliant. Okay, so results, please. You're thinking Netherlands, England. Prediction?
I said 2-1 England.
2-1. And England, Wales?
We're going, yes, it's 6-0. Yeah, why not?
I love that for you, Jordan. The Welsh don't like it, but we love it. And then who goes through?
France and the Lionesses.
France and the Lionesses.
Your reaction shocked me then. I was thinking, well, if France beat the Netherlands, it's really complicated, isn't it, when it comes down
there's too many.
If it comes down to goal difference, it'll be between the Netherlands and the Lionesses, won't it? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Which sucks, really, because I want them all there. I want them all there, you know what I mean? Come back and see us again soon, because we need your insight and analysis. Jordan, thank you. I've still got so many things to pick your brains about. Can you tell us about where you're going next year? No, next year. No. Okay. I will find you. Jordan Nobbs, England legend, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today's show is brought to you by LG and their All In Pledge campaign to increase viewership across women's sport. By signing up and pledging to watch more women's sport this summer, you'll be part of the drive to increase investment, grow the game, and create opportunities for young girls to get involved themselves. Remember, watching changes everything. Let's hear again from LG's ambassador, Millie Bright, speaking about the challenges she faced as a young aspiring athlete.
Well, firstly, I didn't know I had a team that existed in my village. It was only by mistake that my friend was going to train, and me being a very energetic young girl, I went to join in for £1 and I was like, holy crap, we have a girls' team. I didn't know I was going to play football. I was one of those kids that would do absolutely anything. And then, yeah, my mum and dad were really surprised when Andy Poulsen came back waving the papers like, we're signing her. And they were like, don't be silly, she doesn't play, she rides horses. And I was like, oh, Mum, I want to play. And then, yeah, the rest is old news, I guess. And I'm sat here today having played for Chelsea and Doncaster Bells in England. But yeah, I think the challenges that maybe my generation faced, I'd like to think now they don't exist. Otherwise, we've kind of failed the footballing world, and yeah, we've not done our jobs good enough. But you know, I think I know that those challenges are a little bit different now. They're certainly not where they need to be. There needs to be more visibility, there needs to be more opportunities, whether that's in schools, local teams. The facilities need to be on par with the boys, and there needs to be that accessibility. In the villages that need it as well, I think sometimes we focus on the places that already have everything, and we need to go to the places that don't have the basics really, or the bare minimum, and we need to make sure that it's, you know, accessible in all areas, and little girls can just come out the door and, you know, there's a football pitch there, and it's safe for them to go and use, and there's changing rooms, and you know, whether there's banners for their local teams, and you know, you should know that your local team exists. So I think they're the things that I still think need to be better, and the opportunities in schools definitely. And I remember there was 2 girls that played I was in BTEC, and there was 2 girls that played football in school, whereas now, you know, the numbers are getting there, and you know, I've had so many people reach out with my local team, Killamarsh Dynamos, and you know, people are flooding through to want to play, and I think it also helps me going back and being visible and kind of showing that connection that I have with the community, and I want to help, and I want to provide for them and make sure they have everything they need. So visibility is the biggest thing in the women's game, and showing people that this needs to be better, but this is also what we're doing. That's really good. I think it's good to highlight both sides of it.
Do you feel that when you were growing up that you had a professional athlete to look to? Was that easy to find in terms of like female athletes? Because that's changing a lot now, and you're part of that.
No, I think definitely not in football. Definitely didn't have any females to look up to kind of in the worlds that, you know, in the sport world that I played in. My local hero was Jessica Ennis, purely because I was sporty, I loved doing it, but I loved the way she was just so powerful and strong, and she was just, you know, I just used to think of her name and I'd be like, winner, and she was from Sheffield, where I'm from, so I could relate to her, and I could see myself, you know, if I could see someone coming from the same part of the world that I came from, and they can go on and do something, then I could do it too, which is why the visibility piece is so important, that no matter where you come from, what your background is, even what's available, you can still go on and, you know, do amazing things. But it would make life a lot easier for women and young girls if, you know, they had that opportunity right on the doorstep, rather than having to move 4 hours away or move, you know, countries to have better opportunities. I think that's the key thing we need to get better at.
You're going to be watching this summer. The nation will be watching. The world will be watching, because it's only going one way. Watching changes everything. I love that. That's brilliant.
It does, and I can't wait. I'll be there rooting. I'm definitely going to be watching, so make sure everyone else does as well.
Don't forget to head to lg.com/UK/pledge. Sign up to the Pledge campaign and opt in for the chance to win an LG TV and soundbar. Lovely. Remember, watching changes everything. And finally, Wales made history in qualifying for their first ever major tournament. It was a goosebump moment, and even after a crushing 3-0 loss to the Netherlands, Jane Ludlow is optimistic.
It's going to be a tough group, isn't it? What are the girls going to have to do to secure some wins in there?
We have a few mantras, you know. It's very much team, it's together stronger. It's very much like sisters on the pitch. They're very much friends, and they work hard for each other. But they're talented individuals as too. We're always saying, well, as Welsh people, you know, dragon on our chest, etc. If you look at our flag, we're the only one with that on it. But that is part of our culture and our personality. We are hardworking people. We're not, you know, a lot of the girls are coming from working class Welsh valleys environments, etc. And it's just ingrained in you. And that's no different when they're in the changing room about to step on the pitch. You know, they're prepared to go and do what they need to do. And usually that's work really, really hard for each other. So there's very much that togetherness, that spirit, the connection. And they'll know they have to perform as a team to get the results they want. This isn't going to be about one or two players shining. This is going to be everybody coming together and doing the jobs they need to do.
And you've played for Wales, you've also managed at Wales as well. Before those games or at halftime, what would it be that you would be saying to those players in that dressing room to make sure that they go out and they perform the best that they can?
To be honest, it was different for every game. It was always about what have we prepared for, what are we expecting to come up against, and each team they come up against now in the tournament will give them a different challenge. And they would have done a lot of work in the background. I mean, when you get into game day, it's just making sure people are physically and mentally ready to go. It's not about the tactical nuances then. They should know everything they need to know. It's more a case of let's go and enjoy ourselves. Let's step on the pitch, work hard, but do it with a smile on our face.
And Wales have been billed as the underdogs going into this. And I spoke to Hannah Kane a couple weeks ago, I think, and I put that to her, and she was kind of like, it's not how we feel within the camp, and kind of whatever's going on outside of camp is not really something that we care about that much. Is that outside noise kind of something that they will have to block out throughout this tournament, because it is historic that they've made it, and that is something that can't be taken away from them and that they should enjoy. And no matter what the outcome, as you kind of said earlier, they've made history and they will be impacting so many women and girls across the country just by playing football on that international stage.
Yeah, I think, from a player perspective, you've got a big chunk of those players have had a lot of adversity trying to come through the system, being Welsh national team players, and they're just used to that noise on the outside and, people not necessarily wanting to support them. Which probably made them even stronger as a unit internally. It's very much about us and what we need to do, and supporting each other through that. We are the obvious underdogs. We're the lowest ranked team there. We're the ones that it's the first big competition we've ever been in. The expectation is low from people, not necessarily people in the country, because my daughter's thinking they're going to go and win it. So as kids, they just see Welsh national team, big tournament. They haven't played their first game yet. They're going to go out and win every game. And that's kind of what you want. But this for us, I think, as a nation, is far bigger than just the 3 games or potentially more games they get in the tournament. It's more about how do we connect with the nation to encourage those young girls to take up playing.
This episode of The Kickback was brought to you by LG and their All In Pledge campaign. Show your commitment to the Lionesses and the Red Roses this summer by heading to lg.com/UK/pledge, where you can sign up to the Pledge campaign and opt in for the chance to win an LG TV and soundbar. Remember, watching changes everything.